Hi everyone. So I've been asked a lot recently about the book that I'm reading at the moment, and I've been answering with this. It's called The Lamplighters. It's by Emma Stonex, and it's out in the UK at least in April 2021, next year. But I was sent this as a proof, and I thought it might be more interesting, because I haven't quite finished this book yet, although I'm really enjoying it, to talk about what a proof is. Because I remember the very first time I was given one, I had no idea what it was used for. So I thought I'd tell you a little bit about proofs. So proofs are early copies of the book, which have been edited, so they've been through the editing stage, but haven't been copy edited or proofread. So although I haven't noticed any in this one, they're usually, or often, they're full of typos and so on. And in terms of the jackets, they can be really interesting, because as you can see, this one has no jacket at all, which I find actually is quite a good way of experiencing a book, a story for the first time, because I have no idea when they send me a proof like this, I have no idea how it's going to eventually be published and packaged, whether it's going to be given a jacket that is reminiscent of a crime thriller, or especially in a book like this, because it sort of straddles quite a few genres. So it's quite interesting to see how that book is eventually going to look when it comes out. And I quite like reading a book at this stage. If I don't know anything about it, this is a debut, and don't know anything about the author, because it's fascinating for me personally to then see it come out in a few months' time and see how the designer and the team behind it have kind of packaged the book ready for publication. So there's a variety of ways that they come out. So I've got one of mine, so I thought I'd show you Second Life. So Second Life, when it was first published anyway, looked like that. This is my second novel. That was the hardback jacket, obviously. But the proof, you can see here, paperback, but quite a plain design. It doesn't even have my name or the name of the book on the front, although it has it on the spine. And on the back, you can see that the book was already designed. You can see it was, you know what it was going to look like. But quite an unusual, I think it's fairly unusual not to have the name on the front or the title. So that was what this book was like when it was sent out. And these get sent out to various different people. So often there'll be reviewers for newspapers, magazines, so on. And also authors, especially those that try and solicit those quotes that you will often see at the front, on the front of a book. So I remember when Before I Go to Sleep was going through the editing stage, my editor sent a very early copy to Tess Gerritsen that didn't have a jacket at all. I think it was pretty much literally just a Word document that had been printed off and bound together. And then Tess really enjoyed it, and I remember her offering, her saying to my editor at the time, saying that she felt it was the best debut she'd ever read. And we asked whether we could put that on the front of the proof. So the proof of that book actually went out with that quote on from Tess, which was really important, I think, in getting interest for the book. And it was obviously a great honour to have someone like Tess say that about a book of mine. So that was Before I Go to Sleep. So they get sent to other authors. I think there's a lot of misconception around those quotes. I think some people think those quotes are kind of favours that are done between authors, or they're paid for. And that may well go on, I don't know, but certainly in my experience, that's not the case. I've only ever blurbed, with one exception, which I regret hugely and will never do again. I've only ever blurbed, given quotes for books that I've really loved and really enjoyed. The other thing that really fascinates me about proofs, and I've got into some discussions with various people, is the range. I mean, you go everything from the Emma Stonex one, which is very plain white, undesigned, to something which I was sent a few months ago, Claire McIntosh's most recent book, and the proof was incredibly beautiful. So you can see it's got a slip cover, slip case, and then I mean, it lends itself to this book because it's sort of in two very distinct parts. So you get before and you get after. inside this really beautiful case. And I've been sent everything from, you know, proofs with sprayed edges, things like that. And I remember, I don't know whether I think the Claire Mackintosh is a brilliant book, and I just fully deserve the proof that was sent out. I think sometimes though, I personally feel that people trying a bit too hard with proofs, especially with debuts, I often think, with the designer proofs, I mean, I often think it's I don't know, I worry it's a sign of less confidence in the book. But I remember saying that to an editor once, and she sent me this, which was the proof of Sharon Bolton's book, The Craftsman, which is great. But actually in the letter that, I think it was Sam, in the letter that Sam sent it, she explained why, because I'd had this conversation with her about books, proofs that are too beautiful, putting me off. So she sent me that, really quite nice proof, but she wrapped it in loo roll. So that was that. But so I hope that's interesting. So I think that's one of the real things I enjoy about being a published novelist, is actually getting the opportunity to read books early. You know, I got sent the proof of Gone Girl, so that was great to get that and to read that early. And He Said, She Said, I remember I got the proof for that too. So yeah, it's a real perk. I don't by any means get a chance to read all the ones I get sent, because I get, I don't know, 3 or 4 a week sometimes. But you know, there are some that I try and dip into all of them, but some I will read beginning to end, and that's a really great perk, because who doesn't love getting a present?